Welcome to the 1 p.m. news on Sapiencia TV. Today is Wednesday, December 24, 2025. Good afternoon. I am Chinwendo Perpetua Odimwe. The headlines. Some traders at the Onitsha drug market, popularly called Oborgu Bridgehead Market, Onitsha, Anambra State, under the aegis of concerned and genuine members of Oborgu Market and the Justice for Oborgu, have dismissed the claims that another fake drugs worth over 265 million naira was discovered in the market. And of the shores of Nigeria, 2 police officers were killed in an overnight explosion in Moscow when they tried to stop a suspicious person, Russia's investigative committee said in a statement Wednesday. And from the sporting world, we'll bring you news that Nigeria began their 2025 Africa Cup of Nations campaign with a hard-fought 2-1 victory over a resilient Tanzania side. The details of the stories coming up. Some traders at the Onitsha drug market, popularly called Oborgu Bridgehead Market, Onitsha, Anambra State, under the aegis of concerned and genuine members of Oborgu Market and the Justice for Oborgu, have dismissed the claims that another fake drug worth over 265 million naira was discovered in the market. The caretaker committee chairman of the market, Chukwuleta Ndubisi, had last week claimed that he handed over 265 million naira worth of fake drugs from the market to the Enugu Zonal Office of the National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control. NBC said some of the goods were seized in the year 2024, while others were confiscated after a 3-month raid of the market in 2025. Was reacting to the claims in a press briefing in Onitsha on Tuesday, the coordinator of the organization, Emmanuel Ozemena, insisted that the said products were not fake, but expired products voluntarily handed over by the traders concerned. Ozemena, flanked by other members and the traders of the body, said the clarification became necessary so as to correct the malicious misconceptions and misinformation being peddled by the caretaker committee chairman, whom he accused of using the allegation of fake drugs to score cheap political points before NAFDAC, while urging the public, especially their potential customers, to disregard the claims. The group warned the Oborgu market leadership to desist from playing politics with people's lives. Moving on to more stories, the Nigerian Navy has rescued 20 crew members after a vessel caught fire along the Calabar Channel on Monday night. The base operations officer, Lieutenant Colonel Kelechi Ahunanya, disclosed this in a statement made available to newsmen in Calabar yesterday. Ahunanya said that the motor vessel Chimba Express, had 21 persons on board, comprising 14 Nigerians and 7 Cameroonians, noting that 1 crew member remains missing as of the time of filing this report. Now, according to him, the Nigerian Navy ship NNS OSE, while on routine patrol, responded to a distress call at about 1300 hours from the vessel, which was en route from Gabon to Calabar, conveying scrap materials and other logistics. Ahunanya disclosed that the rescue operation was supported by personnel from the Forward Operating Base, Ibaka, and the Naval Security Station 030 houseboat, with assistance from a local fishermen in the area. He further stated that the ship OSE deployed portable pumps to fight the fire, which affected the midship and aft sections of the vessel. Moving to Lagos State, the Traffic Management Authority, LATMA, has confirmed that a loaded Mark 40 feet containerized truck fell on Ojuelegba Bridge in Ward National Stadium, Surulere. The Director of the Public Affairs and Enlightenment Department of LATMA, Mr. Taufik Adebayo, confirmed the development to newsmen. Adebayo said that the container completely blocked the road while descending the bridge and blocked access to other vehicles on the bridge. He said that personnel of LATMA were on the ground with equipment and actively coordinating necessary emergency and recovery measures to ensure safe and prompt evacuation of the truck. Coming back here to Anambra State, members of Iron Dealers Union at Tani Road, Obaru, Anambra State has called on the governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, and other relevant stakeholders to come to their aid as the relocation ultimatum given by the state government will elapse soon. During a press conference held at Onitsha Holiday Resort, members of the union narrated their plight. Now, according to Celestine Okafor, members of the union under the chairmanship of Mr. Nnemeka Onwuzulike decided to buy plots of land as the union's market extension, which was gotten at Nteje in Oyi local government area, Anambra State. Members were told to pay 250,000 naira per plot. After some time, the chairman hijacked the project by not carrying members along, which resulted to litigation. On his own part, the vice chairman of the union, Mr. Anthony Ene, told our reporter that injustice is what brought about the dispute. He emphasized that the land at Nteje was bought not for relocation purpose, but as an extension for youths in the union to expand their business. According to Ifani Nanguno, he made it known that the youths in the union are at the receiving end of this dispute. Anambra State government gave ultimatum to relocate to Nteje, but the chairman have not allocated shops to the members after some of the members paid 250,000 naira each to purchase those lands, unless they pay 3.7 million naira to buy shops. Others who spoke on the issue were Deacon Zebron Ifediora, Mr. Jude Mbadioha, Mr. Ezebo for Linus, amongst others. If you're just joining us, you are listening to Sapiencia News on Sapiencia TV. Coming up after the break, when we return, you'll hear that 2 police officers were killed in an overnight explosion in Moscow. And from the sporting world, we'll bring you a story that Nigeria began their 2025 Africa Cup of Nations campaign with a hard-fought 2-1 victory over a resilient Tanzania side. The news resumes shortly. Join us again. Welcome back to Sapiencia News Hour on Sapiencia TV. Thank you for staying with us, and now let's see more stories. Moving to the entertainment sector, the National Film and Video Censors Board has defended its approval of the Nollywood film A Very Dirty Christmas, saying the title was cleared after a thorough review that found it did not insult or trivialize the Christian faith. The executive director of the board, Dr. Shoaibu Hussaini, gave the clarification on Wednesday via a series of posts on X, following public criticism of the film's title by Christian groups. Hussaini said that the film, including its title, was approved after regulators considered the narrative context and the creative intent of the producers. According to him, the board interpreted the title as metaphorical rather than literal. He explained that the title was assessed within the broader context of the storyline and themes, not as a direct commentary on Christmas itself. He added that the film does not depict, reenact, mock, or trivialize the nativity, the birth of Jesus Christ, or any core Christian doctrine. However, he said the board had engaged the producers of the film in response to concerns raised by Christian bodies and communities. He disclosed that the board requested a modification or stylization of the title to address public sensitivities without undermining the creative integrity and exploitation of the work. Moving to the health sector, the Nigerian Medical Association NMA in Ekiti State yesterday dismissed the allegations of organ harvesting at the Ekiti State University Teaching Hospital, EXUT, describing the claims as unfounded, sensational, and capable of eroding public confidence in the healthcare system. The association, in a statement by its chairman and secretary, Dr. Ifedayo Oreyemi and Dr. Oluwatobi Akinluyi, said it had observed with deep concern what it described as widespread misinformation and misrepresentation surrounding a recent clinical case at the teaching hospital. The association insisted that no organ harvesting occurred at EXUT, stressing that no organ was willfully secretly or illicitly removed from the patient for any purpose outside legitimate medical care. Now, according to the association, following the surgical procedure, the removed kidney specimen was formally handed over to the patient's wife inside the operating theater in line with standard medical practice, and was subsequently conveyed by her to the pathology laboratory for further evaluation. It also faulted the suspension of resident doctors and other theater staff on duty at the time of the procedure, noting that those affected were neither invited to appear before any investigative panel nor allowed a fair hearing before their suspension. The association called for the reversal of the dismissal of the surgeon and the suspension of the resident doctors and the theater staff, urging that professional accountability should be pursued through transparent, evidence-based and peer-reviewed mechanisms rather than actions driven by public pressure or misinformation. That is it for the stories on the local scene. Now let's see what's happening off the shores of Nigeria. Moving to Russia, 2 police officers were killed in an overnight explosion in Moscow when they tried to stop a suspicious person. The country's investigative committee said in a statement released on Wednesday. The blast occurred close to the site where a Russian general was killed earlier this week. An earlier statement on Telegram said investigators were inspecting the scene and carrying out forensic analysis, including medical and explosive examinations. The area was cordoned off and had a large police presence, according to images broadcast on Russian television, which quoted witnesses describing an explosion that occurred at around 1:30 a.m. Tuesday. The blast took place near where Lieutenant General Fanil Savrov was killed on Monday by an explosive device that had been placed under his parked car. Savrov had been the head of the Russian General Staff's training department. That is it for the stories on the foreign scene. Let's see what's happening from the sporting world. Beginning with Nigeria. Nigeria began their 2025 Africa Cup of Nations campaign with a hard-fought 2-1 victory over a resilient Tanzania side, as Ademola Lookman's superb second-half strike proved decisive in Morocco. The win extended the Super Eagles' dominance in the fixture to 9 matches unbeaten against the Taifa Stars and offered a timely response after last month's failure to qualify for a second successive FIFA World Cup finals. The Super Eagles will take confidence from the result as they look to build momentum in the tournament when they face Carthage Eagles of Tunisia in their second match on Saturday, while Tanzania were left to rue missed opportunities after a spirited performance that pushed one of the tournament's favorites all the way. And that is it for the stories on Sapiencia News Hour. Now, let's remind you of the stories that made headlines. Here in Anambra State, we brought you news that some traders at the Onitsha drug market, popularly called Oborgu Bridgehead Market, Onitsha, Anambra State, under the aegis of concerned and genuine members of Oborgu Market and Justice for Oborgu, have dismissed the claims that another fake drugs worth over 265 million naira was discovered in the market. Off the shores of Nigeria in Russia, 2 police officers were killed in an overnight explosion in Moscow when they tried to stop a suspicious person, Russia's investigative committee said in a statement. And from the sporting world, Nigeria began their 2025 Africa Cup of Nations campaign with a hard-fought 2-1 victory over a resilient Tanzania side, as Ademola Lookman's superb second-half strike proved decisive in Morocco. That is it for the stories. On behalf of the editorial, technical and production crew, I am Chinwendo Perpetua Odimwe. Remember to stay on Sapientia International Media Center as we bring you lots of beautiful programs. And also be security conscious and be at alert. Happy Christmas Eve.